In deep autumn, a Russian armored column consisting of 4 30-ton infantry fighting vehicles was moving along a dirt track flanked by dense tree lines, making a fatal error that their commanders would only understand when the metal began to tear. There was no artillery preparation rolling ahead of them, and absolutely no early warning radar triggers illuminating their dashboards to suggest they were being watched. They were driving into a Ukrainian trap governed entirely by thermal physics and geometry, unaware that their survival window had already closed. 300 meters directly above their turret roofs, a high-definition thermal optics feed stabilized perfectly in the crosswinds, locking its crosshairs directly onto the massive heat signature bleeding from the lead vehicle's diesel engine exhaust. The column thought they were safe because the airwaves were completely silent, but silence is exactly what modern hunter-killer drone networks use to finalize their targeting math. A quiet, encrypted transmission passed through the digital airwaves, totally invisible to the analog antennas mounted on the armored hulls below. A lightweight drone, costing perhaps less than a decent used bicycle, dropped its nose and entered a steep terminal dive toward a vehicle worth $3 million. The final payoff of this entire engagement would not be the destruction of these 4 machines, but the complete and permanent logistical starvation of an entire division over the horizon. The operator flying that first descending drone did not aim for the thick composite armor plating protecting the primary crew cabin, because the fundamental rule of drone warfare is that you never attack the strongest point when physics offers you a weaker one. Instead, the small-shaped charge sheared straight through the hardened steel of the forward drive sprocket with surgical precision. If you look closely at how a modern tracked vehicle operates, the drive sprocket is the single point of failure. It is the gear that actually pulls the heavy steel track around the road wheels, transferring thousands of horsepower into forward momentum. When the copper jet from the drone's warhead instantly vaporized the sprocket teeth, the lead vehicle's left track violently unspooled, snapping under immense tension and digging deep into the mud. The lead vehicle immediately stopped dead in its tracks. Its massive momentum instantly converted into a jarring, violent halt that threw the crew against their restraints. The first fast win for the drone operator was achieved in exactly 45 seconds from launch, successfully turning a mobile, heavily armed threat into a 30-ton stationary roadblock. Behind the paralyzed lead element, the remaining 3 vehicles in the convoy were forced to halt in rapid sequence, their drivers slamming on the brakes to avoid rear-ending the machine in front of them, while their crews remained completely blind to the actual origin of the strike. Inside the cramped, aggressively angled chassis of the disabled lead vehicle, the internal tactical radio channel immediately flooded with chaotic, overlapping, and conflicting reports from the disoriented crew. The vehicle commander desperately tried to scan his surroundings to acquire a target, but the concussive shockwave from the drive sprocket detonation had kicked up a storm of dirt and shattered his primary external optics with jagged shrapnel completely obscuring his field of view. He was effectively sitting inside a heavily armored steel box with no windows, relying on broken sensors, while the enemy held the ultimate high ground. Exactly 2 minutes passed in agonizing tension as the stationary column tried to assess the damage and locate an enemy that was not hiding behind the tree lines, but hovering completely out of sight. High overhead, a secondary reconnaissance platform remained perfectly stationary against the cloud cover, acting as the unblinking eye of the operation. This platform was not carrying weapons. Its sole purpose was mapping the newly static targets in high resolution and identifying the structural vulnerabilities of the remaining vehicles. The spotter operating this eye in the sky noticed that the lead vehicle's crew was trapped, but more importantly, he noted that the engine decks of the trailing vehicles were now fully exposed and glowing white-hot on the thermal camera feed. With the entire convoy immobilized and their primary sensors blinded, a second offensive drone entered the operational sector, skimming just above the tree canopy to mask its acoustic signature. This operator navigated his lethal payload precisely toward the exposed rear engine deck of the second vehicle in line, because every tank designer in the world knows that the armor covering the engine block is strictly minimized to allow for heat dissipation and air intake. You cannot wrap an engine in 2 feet of solid steel without cooking it from the inside out, which means the rear deck is always the softest target on any heavily armored machine. The second drone struck exactly on the primary fuel cell sitting just above the engine compartment, sending a massive jet of superheated plasma burning through the thin steel plating at over 4,000 degrees Celsius. The immediate impact ignited the diesel reserves, But the catastrophic failure occurred 3 seconds later when a secondary explosion cooked off the internal ammunition storage located deep inside the hull. The physics of a confined ammunition cook-off are utterly unforgiving. The sudden expansion of explosive gases inside the sealed crew compartment created a pressure spike so extreme that it violently lifted the entire 5-ton turret completely off the chassis ring. The crew never had a chance to reach the escape hatches. Their vehicle instantly transformed into a burning pyre in a fraction of a second. However, the defensive electronic warfare umbrella projecting over the retreating column was highly uneven and fundamentally flawed. The jamming transmitters mounted on the vehicles were creating dead zones based on the physical obstruction of their own steel antennas, leaving brief windows of clean signal for the attackers to exploit. The third vehicle in the desperate line was carrying a heavy, field-welded steel cage bolted directly over its turret roof, an improvised physical countermeasure designed precisely to catch and detonate incoming warheads before they could touch the actual armor plating. A follow-up loitering munition managed to punch through a momentary gap in the static interference and dove straight at the commander's cupola. But the welded cage successfully triggered the explosive charge a full meter away from the hull. The physical force of the blast wave violently deflected the primary kinetic penetrator, saving the crew from instant vaporization. But the concussion was still devastating to the exterior systems. The extreme shock wave violently sheared the highly sensitive primary thermal camera right off its mounting bracket, sending glass and composite materials flying into the mud. The crew survived the immediate detonation, but they lost their only method of seeing through the thick smoke and dust. They were now completely blind in the dark, forced to maneuver a 30-ton steel box entirely by blind panic and guesswork. With the electronic jamming field now aggressively saturating the standard radio bands and protecting the final 2 vehicles from conventional remote attacks, the strike team instantly pivoted to a completely different branch of physics. A specialized fiber-optic drone was smoothly launched from a concealed position in a tree line exactly 2 kilometers away from the burning column. Instead of relying on vulnerable radio waves bouncing through the air, this advanced munition physically unspooled a micro-thin glass filament continuously from a reel mounted on its belly as it flew forward. Because the control inputs and the high-definition video feed traveled entirely through this physical thread of glass rather than through the electromagnetic spectrum, the local jamming dome radiating from the terrified vehicle crews had absolutely zero effect on its performance. You can scream noise into a radio frequency until it breaks, but you cannot jam a physical wire using electromagnetic interference. The operator sat in total silence miles away, watching a perfectly clear, uncorrupted video feed while guiding the drone effortlessly through the invisible wall of electronic noise that was supposed to protect the armored column. The drone glided through the airspace completely unbothered by the frantic countermeasures, turning a sophisticated multi-million-dollar electronic defense system into absolutely useless dead weight. The fiber-optic drone approached the blinded third vehicle, its operator taking full advantage of the perfectly stable video connection to execute a maneuver that no automated system could ever replicate. Because the vehicle was equipped with that massive, field-welded overhead cage, a direct vertical strike was no longer mathematically viable. The drone would simply detonate harmlessly against the steel mesh just like the previous munition. Instead, the skilled operator dropped the aircraft down to an altitude of barely 2 meters off the ground, skimming the destroyed terrain and sliding horizontally right beneath the overhanging steel slats. He piloted the machine directly into the narrow gap between the bottom of the cage and the top of the turret roof, specifically targeting the commander's hatch, which had been left slightly open to vent the suffocating smoke from the earlier near miss. A tiny camera feed showed the dark rim of the open hatch growing larger with terrifying speed, navigating the incredibly tight geometry with the precision of a surgeon threading a needle. The moment the drone slipped inside the heavy steel rim of the hatch, the glass fiber trailing behind it finally snapped against the sharp metal edge, and the operator's screen instantly cut to pitch black. A fraction of a second later, a brilliant flash of internal ignition illuminated the seams of the turret, and the third vehicle immediately began to burn from the inside out. With 3 out of the 4 heavily armored targets now completely neutralized and burning intensely on the muddy track, the broader tactical network finally moved to close the loop on the entire operational sector. The overhead reconnaissance drone, still loitering silently out of visual range, immediately shifted its high-resolution camera away from the localized destruction of the convoy and focused on tracing the heavy track marks leading back toward the enemy rear. It instantly relayed the digital targeting coordinates and vector data directly down the chain of command to a rear-echelon rocket artillery battery stationed dozens of kilometers away. The mathematical calculation required to process the distance, wind speed, barometric pressure, and target elevation was perfectly executed by the automated fire control computers in exactly 40 seconds. 6 precision-guided rockets violently left their launch tubes in rapid succession, their solid-fuel motors painting brilliant streaks of white smoke across the overcast sky. They were not aiming for the lone surviving vehicle stranded in the woods, because striking a single trapped target was a waste of high-value strategic munitions. Instead, they were locked onto the massive, sprawling logistics hub located precisely 5 kilometers behind the stalled armored column, tracing the supply lines right back to the beating heart of the enemy division. The visual confirmation of the turret being blown clean off the second vehicle triggered an immediate and frantic response from the surviving third and fourth vehicles in the formation. Recognizing that staying completely still was a guaranteed death sentence, the remaining drivers furiously attempted to throw their massive machines into reverse, desperately trying to back out of the kill zone, while simultaneously activating their local electronic warfare jamming pods. These sophisticated jamming systems are designed to flood the surrounding local airspace with intense electromagnetic noise, scrambling the specific radio frequencies that commercial and military drones use to communicate with their operators. On the drone operator's monitor sitting several miles away in a concealed trench, the previously crystal-clear high-definition video feed suddenly began to snow with heavy digital static and aggressive color banding. The radio frequencies started dropping crucial data packets, violently disrupting the delicate control loops that keep the quadcopters stable in the air. The electronic warfare dome essentially created an invisible, localized force field of electromagnetic interference spanning a radius of about 400 meters around the panicked vehicles, temporarily blinding any standard radio-controlled munition trying to penetrate the airspace. The 6 precision-guided rockets climbed to an altitude of 25,000 feet before tipping over into their supersonic terminal descent, dropping toward the primary logistics depot at Mach 3. If you look here at the standard layout of a divisional supply hub, you will see a massive concentration of high-explosive artillery shells stacked directly next to thousands of gallons of volatile diesel fuel, which is essentially a localized earthquake waiting for a single spark. The rockets slammed into the main ammunition bunker with absolute mathematical precision, detonating their delayed fuse warheads exactly 5 milliseconds after penetrating the reinforced concrete roof. The resulting explosion instantly vaporized 3,000 tons of artillery ammunition, creating a catastrophic shockwave that leveled every single structure within a 1-mile radius. The massive supply depot, which had taken 3 entire weeks to build and camouflage, was completely wiped off the map before the roaring acoustic boom of the rocket launches ever reached the ears of the soldiers shivering at the front line. The division lost its entire offensive capability in exactly 3.5 seconds, instantly transforming a heavily armed military force into a starving mob with empty rifles. Simultaneously, a secondary strike package of 2 specialized cruise missiles descended onto an active rail line located 3 miles further east, specifically targeting a massive fuel train idling at a junction. A modern armored division burns through approximately 40,000 gallons of diesel fuel every single day just to keep its engines running and its sophisticated electronics powered. Striking the train was not just about destroying liquid fuel. It was about completely severing the vital umbilical cord connecting the forward combat units directly to the deep strategic reserves of the rear echelons. The missiles penetrated the thick steel walls of the cylindrical tank cars and detonated deep inside the liquid payload, triggering a massive thermal runaway event that melted the actual steel rails right into the gravel bed beneath them. It was exactly like cutting the main artery of a heavyweight boxer in the middle of a championship fight. The heart keeps pumping, but the muscles are already dead. Burning wreckage completely blocked the only functional railway junction in the entire sector, ensuring that absolutely zero replacement vehicles or emergency fuel shipments could reach the front line for at least 3 entire weeks. Back on the muddy dirt track where the initial ambush had started, the single surviving 4th Infantry fighting vehicle remained completely paralyzed and trapped behind the burning wreckage of its 3 destroyed sister machines. The terrified driver kept the massive diesel engine idling at maximum revolutions per minute, frantically trying to power the heavy alternator that supplied electricity to their life-saving electronic warfare jamming system. But idling a 30-ton armored beast requires burning roughly 5 gallons of fuel every single hour, and their reserve tanks were already running dangerously low after a massive 3-day offensive push. The crew was trapped in a terrifying waiting game governed entirely by fluid dynamics and battery life, watching the digital fuel gauge slowly tick down toward absolute zero, while knowing that opening the heavy steel hatches meant instant death from the hovering drones. Exactly 90 minutes after the very first drive sprocket was blown off the lead vehicle, the massive diesel engine finally coughed, sputtered violently, and completely died, plunging the heavy steel cabin into a terrifying and suffocating silence. The death of the main diesel engine triggered an immediate and catastrophic cascading failure of every single defensive system, keeping the isolated crew alive in the dark. Without the heavy alternator spinning to generate electrical current, the vehicle was forced to seamlessly switch over to its internal backup battery banks just to keep the radios and the electronic warfare jamming dome functioning. However, projecting a powerful electromagnetic interference bubble capable of blinding incoming radio signals requires a massive and continuous drain of electrical voltage. If you look at the physical size of a military-grade signal jammer, it consumes power exactly like trying to run a commercial industrial microwave off a standard car battery. Within exactly 14 minutes, the massive voltage drain completely sucked the backup batteries dry, causing the primary digital displays to flicker violently before shutting down into absolute darkness. The invisible electromagnetic dome that had successfully shielded them from the radio-controlled munitions instantly collapsed, completely clearing the local airspace of any protective digital static. The exact moment the protective electronic jamming bubble dropped, the airspace above the stalled vehicle was suddenly flooded with clean, high-definition radio signals. High above the overcast cloud layer, 3 additional loitering munitions had been patiently circling in a holding pattern for over an hour, waiting specifically for the telltale sign of an electronic death rattle from the target below. The automated targeting computer instantly registered the clean airspace and locked 3 separate crosshairs onto the final cold steel box sitting motionless in the mud. The 3 drones dropped simultaneously from the sky, executing a coordinated, multi-axis strike specifically designed to overwhelm any last-second defensive maneuvers or reactive plating. The first drone slammed directly into the side armor, stripping away the explosive reactive tiles. The second drone followed exactly 2 seconds later, punching a molten copper jet straight through the newly exposed steel. And the third munition dove straight down into the open breach, detonating deep inside the cramped crew compartment. The final explosion violently rocked the muddy track, throwing heavy steel shrapnel deep into the surrounding tree lines, before the entire sector finally fell completely silent. The line of 4 heavily armored fighting vehicles, representing over $12 million of military hardware and weeks of strategic planning, was entirely reduced to a series of smoking craters by cheap plastic drones costing less than a few $1,000s combined.